This is the Aftermarket Radio Network.
Hey, everybody. Carm Capriato, Remarkable Results Radio. Good to have you here. It's been a really busy spring of 2025. Conferences, shows, facilitating mastermind classes, doing keynotes. You've probably seen a lot of that stuff on social media, but I couldn't do it without you and your support of this episodic learning moment podcast that we've been doing for, believe it or not, this month that I'm recording this. You may not hear this till April, but in March of 2025, it's been 10 years that I've been doing this. So, wow, either shame on me or thank you, Carm. We sure appreciate all that great work and effort. So, hey, look at great sponsors, great partners with us on the show. Let's take a moment to recognize them. Hey, take your auto care center to the next level, the gold level, with the NAPA Auto Care Gold Certified Program. This program is for the best of the best who can provide a consistent consumer experience and earn the trust of returning and new customers. Talk to your NAPA sales representative about how you can become a gold certified shop. Hey, for over 30 years, NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the best, most comprehensive SMS in the industry. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. Find NAPA Trax on the web at napatracs.com. Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'd like to introduce you to my great friend, Derek Kaufman. Hello, Derek.
Carm, how are you doing?
12 episodes with me over the years. I thank you. I reached out to Derek just a few weeks ago and I said, give us an update. He says, no problem. Now, Derek is a managing partner at Schwartz Advisors and the president of C3 Networks. Now, this guy is he's my connection to the EV world. Okay. So if you wanted to put your ear to the ground and know what's going on, he studies it. He knows what it's all about. So I said, hey, come on back. Let's give us an update. A lot's happened since we last talked, maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Now we've got tariffs, rollbacks, EV tax credits, drill baby drill, lots of things that can affect the aftermarket, service repair, everything going forward. What say you, Derek?
It's a crazy time, and congrats on the 10 years. I guess that snuck up on me. I know it snuck up on you, but that's very impressive, Carm. Good for you.
Sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so much going on. Let me try to break things down here a little bit, maybe one element at a time. I mean,
Okay.
I know with tariffs, it's a crazy time. Everybody's up in arms, and we're going to increase the price of our cars and the price of our parts. And my thought here is, I get something from Auto Care or something from MEMA just about every week, maybe every 2 or 3 days, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's what we're doing with the tariffs. Here's what we're doing in Washington. And my thought is, guys, calm down, right? Just let this thing roll out a little bit, because I think by now we understand how President Trump negotiates. I just was on a phone call with somebody a few minutes ago, and I said, don't you kind of take the first thing out of his mouth as bluster and positioning? And
Possible, maybe.
You just roll with it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So today he's rattling the cages of Mexico and Canada to close the border to illegal immigration and drugs. And you can see that Mexico is already playing ball. The timing with Canada is different because they're in a national election. And Justin Trudeau has been kind of booted out, and they're going to replace him. And, somebody's got to talk tough to show we're going to stand up against the United States here. So I think ultimately what happens here with tariffs is that they come with a bluster, they negotiate back down. Unfortunately, if they negotiate back down, the headline you'll see is Trump relents on tariffs. But I think we should all be fine to use the tariffs to get our country's trade balance headed in the right direction and drugs reduced on the borders. China's a little bit different. There is the element of fentanyl use, and that's the drug that we're talking about coming across the borders. Well, it all comes out of China. So, I'm looking for some breakthrough with China to reduce that drug flow down. But the bigger issue with China probably, and maybe the big role that the auto industry is going to play here, is the way the Trump administration is going to approach China's aggression against Taiwan. My bet is, and I know this is a little out there, but my bet is that we're actually going to open the USA market to the sale of Chinese EVs or battery electric cars or BEVs, as long as they're assembled in the United States. That could bolster the Chinese economy, which is really weak right now, and it may mollify their political aggression versus Taiwan.
Wow. Okay. Let me be a political correspondent right now. No, I won't. You said tons of stuff. It's a whoa moment. It's a oh my God moment. There could be a major threat to domestic OEMs if that happens, though.
Yes, there will be. I'm old enough to have lived through the 80s when Toyota and Honda were just beating our hides on quality. President Reagan at that time negotiated a 4-year quota on Japanese cars coming into the country to give Detroit basically some time to get their act together on quality. And the result was an improvement in quality of U.S. cars. He also opened up for the Japanese to come into the country after that moratorium, but he said you have to build them in the United States. It's a mirror image of what we're going through right now. I tell you that I was actually in the process of buying a new car in 1979. And I was living in Euclid, Ohio, working for Euclid Trucks. And I went down the street to the Chevy Citation to see a Chevy Citation at that time. If you remember the Citation,
I forgot about that.
not a good car, not a good car. But, I was a former GMI guy. I worked for Chevrolet. I wanted to buy American. So I looked at that, but then I walked down the street and I looked at a Honda Accord. And Carm, there just was simply no comparison.
Yeah.
The quality of the Accord was so much better, the drive of it and everything else. And I ended up buying that and I loved it. And obviously hope my Chevrolet people would forgive me. And in fact, what happened is that Chevy and Ford, Chrysler, they all got their acts together. Quality got better. But what I'm concerned right now is that we're kind of we're watching this movie again. I think the fact is that Ford, GM, Stellantis, they are significantly now behind the Chinese when it comes to battery electric vehicle designs in terms of performance and cost and quality. So the solution to the gap is not blocking that competition, but I think by embracing it. I think it's going to happen. I think that XPeng and Geely and NIO, several other Chinese brands that are kind of expanding globally right now, can come here, build great BEVs at low prices, and the aftermarket can embrace those cars and provide parts and service to keep them on the road. So in balance, I think it's really tough at the beginning here to think about, but I think on balance, it's actually better for the U.S. car market.
Well, in that time that you were talking about the Citation and the Honda, for example, I saw that. I lived through that also. And I just kept looking the other way and kept supporting, the US brands that I was so loyal to for the years. And I was envious of the other people who would show off as their total quality management made vehicle, right? That's what they were doing. How do you see
Dr.
the EV
Deming,
tax
man.
credit?
Yep.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Deming. Yeah. How do you
Yep.
see the EV tax credits affecting battery electric vehicle sales overall?
I think what's going to happen now.
It's gone, am I right?
Yeah, well, it's in the process of leaving for sure. So
Okay.
I'm all about okay, I've made a bold statement on the Chinese coming here. I'll make another bold statement. And that is, I think that this election that we just went through with President Trump is actually an inflection point on how we're going to view climate change going forward. We may not, in my opinion, we should not really totally turn away from the fact that climate change exists. I think it's an absolute real thing. But I think we're in the process now of rethinking what the transportation industry's role is in the solution. With Doge, we're doing a deep dive now where our tax dollars are going to solve the climate change problem. And it's pretty ugly from what I see in the early stages here, with just billions of dollars going to who knows where and not really affecting. I've always tracked where our energy power sources come from. In other words, what fuel is burned to make electricity. So over the last 20 years, we've spent about $800 billion. We're closing in on $1 trillion over a 24-year period. And in that, nearly $1 trillion spent, We've driven coal down, we've driven renewables up. But do you know that the percentage that fossil fuels represent in terms of our energy output is basically a 2% difference? In other words, fossil fuels have reduced 2% overall in their percentage of what they represent in terms of energy or electrical production. So, you have to get in behind the numbers here to really kind of think about what's going on. Tax credits, yeah, I think they're going away. I think we're going to find out what real consumer demand is now for electric drive. I mean, in California right now, these sales have leveled off. In the last few months, they've not gone above 20%, even with the credits in place. I know that part of it is now the "we hate Musk" effect, right?
Yeah, sure
So
does.
people
Yeah.
no longer buying Teslas. I mean, we used to love him. He was the guy taking us to the nirvana of the green climate control. But then he did something weird. He put up $44 billion of his own money to make a statement on defending free speech in America by buying Twitter, and he thought that Twitter was limiting certain voices in to further one political view. And now he's done something even weirder, and that is he's joined the Trump team to manage Doge and attack the waste and the fraud and abuse associated with our government's bureaucracy. So the response now, of course, is a combination of death threats and vandalism and fire bombings of Tesla dealerships. But in the process, my personal opinion is, I guess I'm going to show you my leanings here, but I think we're attacking the one guy that might just hold the future of the automotive industry in his head. But I'm sorry, I'm getting off point here. I think tax credits go away to answer your question. And
You digressed.
consumer,
It was a great way to
consumer
digress.
demand.
And
Yeah,
when I think of him getting to where he has as an individual, I think he learned how to spend money, but I also think he had his cost in control, because he's in a market that fluctuates in everything that we do, and I don't think he's just wasting money. I think he's investing money. So I don't mind listening to the things that he has to say. But does this all mean that the ICE vehicle is back, Derek?
I think, yes. I think that we might not move back to ICE, but certainly what we're going to look at now is a heavier focus on low carbon and near zero emission fuels. I've been tracking these extended range EVs coming out of China. There's 18 models coming out of China just this year of EREVs. We had one in the Chevy Volt, and Chevrolet killed it. But I think you're going to see those coming back in. I think we're forecasting a spike in hybrids, but not so much in plug-in hybrids. So long story short on that, I mean, the Schwartz Advisors forecast says that BEVs are going to be about 6.4% of the VIO now, not new car sales, the VIO in 2030, moving up to about 12.8% in 2035. And if you remember, the federal government wants 50% by 2035, and California wants 67% or something in 2035. So we think it's going to be 12.8% of the VIO and then 21.8% in 2040. And believe it or not, we're still at about 50-50. We're about 55% ICE in 2050, 45% BEV.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you a NAPA Auto Care Center who is ready to take your shop to the next level? Then the premier tier NAPA Auto Care Gold Certified program is exactly what you need. Gold Certified Auto Care Centers provide customers with a consistent experience no matter where they are in the U.S. Now, this means they are more likely to return and support your shop or find your Gold Certified Auto Care Center while on the road. Gold Certified members can maximize technology, increase their local marketing opportunities, and have a fully trained team that keeps up with the latest trends. Simply put, the Gold Certified NAPA Auto Care program, powered by your local brand, will set you apart. A true partnership is a two-way street. Shops must meet specific criteria to be eligible for the many benefits of Gold. Now, NAPA Auto Care rewards its most committed partners, their Gold Certified members, with free premium shop referrals on the NAPA online locator, annual marketing dollars, and enhanced warranty, training opportunities, program rebates, and so much more. Are you ready to get started? Contact your local NAPA sales representative to discuss your eligibility and apply today. More than 16% of light-duty vehicles on the road are EV and hybrid. Is your shop ready to safely and properly service them? Get your shop trained and equipped to service hybrid and EV vehicles with NAPA Autotech's innovative EV-ready Level 1 high-voltage awareness and maintenance training. Hey, take your Auto Care Center to the next level, the gold level, with the NAPA Auto Care Gold Certified program. This program is for the best of the best who can provide a consistent consumer experience and earn the trust of returning and new customers. Talk to your NAPA sales representative about how you can become a gold certified shop. Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing tracks to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com. Hey, did you know at AutomotiveManagementNetwork.com you can find an SOP, a checklist, forms, along with policies and procedures that can help you move your business ahead? Well, sometimes you just need a little motivation to write a policy if only you had something to review and then make your own. You can save so much valuable time when you can grab a document from our library, make a few adjustments for your shop, and move to your next task. There are more than 350 searchable documents, with new documents arriving soon at AutomotiveManagementNetwork.com. Hey, let's face it, your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing tracks to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, will be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPA Trax, that's NAPATRACS.com.
My prediction is, Carm, that in 20 years, we won't be talking about climate change. We'll have moved on by that time to talk about carbon capture and new generation nuclear to fuel this rise of power that we're going to need for AI computing power demand.
Okay, there you said it, AI. Oh boy.
Word of the day.
I would love to know your thoughts and comments on AI for all of us. What's it going to mean?
We're working it heavy at Schwartz Advisors right now, in with people doing it, just really studying as much as we can. I don't think you can't think about it fast enough. Just stuff's going by you like, at light speed. So, but I just think we're going to be stunned about how generative AI changes the aftermarket in the next 5 years. If you think about distribution or just, WDs, I think we're going to see humanoid robots doing the kind of jobs in WDs that just moving, packages and things around, stocking things. We're going to see that very quickly. And it's going
Time
to be,
out, but that's what Amazon is doing, though. Am I right, Derek? And so why
yeah,
wouldn't we in the distribution side of the aftermarket be doing the same thing?
yeah, well, absolutely. So Carmen, it's humanoid. And you say, well, geez, you don't need
Humanoid.
a robot. Yeah, you don't need it to look like a human. No, it's humanoid because the entire physical world is built for humans to interact with it. Things are done on tables, things are done in chairs, things are done on racking and shelves and things. So they put them in humanoids, and you think about how this is going to apply, and just think. Let's go into the shop a minute. Think about what the travel your techs do in your shop every day. They're running back and forth to pick up parts at a counter, or they're installing a tire wheel assembly. I think humanoids are going to do that work. Anything with inventory control or part stocking or sensor diagnostics, battery installation, so on. I think we're going to see that. And we'll come back to Elon Musk here. Tesla's leading the way here. They've got 200 Optimus humanoid robots working in their battery factory today. I think they're adding about 1,000 this year. They're talking about adding 10,000 by 2030. So I've heard that the Optimus humanoid cost about $50,000 to $60,000 to build right now, and Musk is saying that's going to be below $20,000 very soon, and by 2030, probably below $10,000 to make it. So let's double that price to get a retail into you.
Yeah.
Would you invest $20,000 in a humanoid robot that will do all your shop's heavy lifting? Maybe use reasoning to diagnose repairs and handle your in-house inventory with no hourly pay, no benefits. I bet you would. I bet you will. I know it seems conceptual, more theory than reality, but I think the reality is changing before our eyes. And I'm guessing that 5 to 10% of our manufacturing workforce could be humanoid in the next 10 years. And that's going to allow us to do all this reshoring that we're talking about. That can make it a reality.
Wow. Okay. A humanoid. We got to make this personal for the shop owner. And when I think about should our techs be afraid of their livelihoods, and the next thing I think about is how many people at 50, 55, 56,
Mhm.
57 have hurting backs, and they just don't want to do this heavy lift anymore. And
Yeah,
there may be some strong value there.
I'm really excited about it. I don't think techs need to be afraid on this at all. I think that humanoids, just as you just said, they're going to be assigned all the tasks you basically hate every day, right? Like I said, the heavy stuff, the monotonous stuff. And think about the aging of cars. I mean, I was talking to someone in a big WD just the other day who was talking about the average car being 13 years old. And he said that they actually see it pushing 20 years average age in the VIO in the foreseeable future.
Mm.
Just because people are holding on to ICE cars to avoid buying, BEVs, or that the affordability is getting away from people and they can't afford to buy cars. So we've always had that gap between the old school cars and the new tech. But maybe I think, that gap is going to get wider and wider, and humanoids might be able to help bridge that gap. I'm not saying that human techs will handle all the 30-year-old Chevys and humanoids will handle all the new ADAS stuff, right? But I think the two can happily coexist because that humanoid is going to be pre-programmed with the newest tech and be able to assist the human techs in diagnostics. And the human techs will be able to bring their history to the humanoids. So, it's hard to think about, I think, but the generative AI humanoids are going to think the way that we think, only way faster. And that's the mind-bending change here. It's coming at us really fast.
You've successfully broken my head. Right now, I'm thinking about introducing you to my humanoid, Bob. He is going to carry my podcast studio to the next event so I don't have to. I love it. Final thoughts, my friend. And in fact, I have a couple of questions after final thoughts that I may just want to ask you.
Okay. You want to ask those now?
Yeah.
Okay, go
We've
ahead.
talked in the past. We've talked in the past about fuels. We've talked in the past about hydrogen. What's going on there?
Yep. So the e-fuel thing, you're seeing a pace now of articles and things and more communication coming about e-fuels. Again, they're in order to be either low carbon or near emission, the electricity that makes the hydrogen part of the e-fuel needs to be generated with electricity. So you need some kind of renewable amount of electricity to do that. But the e-fuel alliance, I've lost track of how many companies have joined that now. I mean, it's nearing over 200. And so this thing is getting a pace. And I believe what's happening now in Washington will open up true discussions on what is the refining capacity for both e-fuels, biodiesels, other types of renewable fuels to keep ICE vehicles. And if you notice that some of the European car companies all of a sudden are resurrecting ICE programs and bringing them back in because they realize that the EV thing is not going to stay on the curve of adoption that they thought it was. We've been through the early adopters and the true pioneers out there. Now we're getting into that early majority, starting to ask harder questions. And I really do think that e-fuels will come about. Hydrogen, I think on a commercial vehicle standpoint, a lot of work still going on there. As far as the tankage and things are concerned, I think some of that is coming into focus now, and it's absolutely doable. It all comes down to the fueling infrastructure for hydrogen, and that's a heavy lift. I mean, that is a big deal. So I think that takes another 10 years to work out.
Derek, can you have a big solar farm, big, huge solar farm making e-fuels?
Oh, yes. If you notice, I live out in the country, and there is about 70 or 80 acre field just down the street from me. That 70 acres now is filled with solar panels. So you see this happening around the country, and this whole idea of distributed power is coming on. It's coming into focus now. Those are the enabling things that really allow e-fuels to be made. So I think the refining capacity is going to be part of the overall solution now, when it would have probably been stonewalled if another administration had
Yeah.
won that election. So I think it's got a life.
It just seems to me that there's going to be so many choices, not just petroleum fuels moving us forward. I'm excited about that, especially that everyone is trying to work on something creative and unique that can power our industry because, we make probably the biggest part of the whole GDP work in our country, what we do for
Yeah,
all of
you
us
bet.
do for a living.
But that's
Yeah,
just us being us. That's what we
I know.
do. We,
Yeah.
we innovate our way out of problems, and the aftermarket is, a tremendously innovative engine all by itself. It takes technology change and just rolls with it. It always has, and I'm telling you, it always will. I know right now that things are happening just really uncomfortably fast. I mean, for me, I just get bombarded in the morning. I got 10 things out of Washington, maybe 50 things out of Washington. I'm trying like crazy to stay conversant with things, especially in the whole AI explosion thing. And so when it gets a bit overwhelming, I think of the great service that shop owners can bring to our customers. In this world, right, it seems to be crazy and it's getting crazier by the minute. Every shop in this country has the opportunity to be an oasis, a port in the storm, a place where like solid knowledge and is communicated concisely and clearly, where promises are made, are promises kept, and where things are, kind of done on time. There's just tremendous power in being that island of sanity for your customers, right? An island of sanity and expertise, as I call it, being that trusted friend instead of just a supplier of services out there. And it's a power that can bring really lasting customer loyalty. We all know that. My advice to shop owners out there is keep your head on a swivel, stay frosty out there, and you do you, and you're going
I
to be fine.
love I love that. Stay frosty. That is just off the charts and perfect. I totally agree. We cannot put blinders on as we see opportunity, technology. We have to embrace it. Please don't ignore the fact that you need to get EV training. You need to get your people involved. They're not going away. They may not come at us as rapidly as before. But if you don't seize the opportunity to work with your customer on the safety and reliability of their EV, even though there may not be as much wrench turning as we've done in the past, let's stay very focused on that. I learned a ton. As always, thank you so much. You are my treasure trove of knowledge as we move forward with not only technology, but battery electric vehicles and all that stuff. And then you got to come back someday and tell us all about solid state batteries someday. I don't want to take much more of your time, but that could be fun to talk about.
Yeah,
Derek
all
Kaufman,
right.
managing partner, Schwartz and Advisors, and the president of the C3 Network. As always, my friend, thank you for being here.
Carm, great to be with you again. Take care.